And again, here we go. Chile's origin and impact of globalization. Origins of Chile. Chile was colonized by Spain in the mid 1500s in search for precious metal deposits. While Spain did not find the precious metals they were looking for, they did find wealth from other natural minerals, fertile land for agriculture and labor. In addition, Chile later provided Spain with a strategic trade route and access to the Pacific coast. In 1810, Chile was autonomous from after Napoleon overthrew the king of Spain after serving as one of Spain's colonies. Between 1810 and 1818, the Chilean War of Independence took place, ended in Chile becoming an independent nation. Not till the late 1800s did Chile begin to mine copper to help diversify and further boost its economy. Globalization, economic dimensions. Uh, export Exports drive growth for goods like copper, fruit, wine, and seafood, which makes the country highly sensitive to global commodity prices. Because Chile was and still is driven by exports, they want to have more trade partners to access, so they had to make more opportunities for growth. An example of this was signing the free trade agreements with the United States in 2022 and China in 2006. Foreign investments in electricity, mining for ores, and metal resources. Economic separation between the rich and the poor, and the fact that they have a per capita just above the poverty line prevents them from altering the poverty status. Another thing to add is foreign investment has changed the outlook of jobs in Chile, further industrializing the country. Globalization, political dimensions, and international institutions. Chile joined the United Nations in 1945 when it was originally founded. They are part of the World Trade Organization uh, since 1995, the European Union in 2002, the Paris Agreement in 2015, and they're also part of the Global Health Corporation. Outside of investment and intervention has limited Chile's own decision making by way of globalization. They need to industrialize further. After globalization and further industrializing, Chile um, has agreed to commit to international climate goals and participate in its own global governance. Chile's development led them to participate in the international vaccine procurement for COVID-19 between the years of 2000 and 2002, or 2001. Globalization, cultural dimensions. So preservation of traditions versus influence of global culture. Global culture was introduced with the globalization and corporate investment, and it has impacted the traditions of Chile. Despite their influence in bringing of new experiences, Chile promotes its own culture. An example of a Chilean tradition is the cueca music and dances that have inversely made their way back to the United States. Globalization brings tourism. Tourism was expedited when Chile began to include and interest itself in foreign trade. Tourism allows for foreigners to have a snapshot of experience within the Chilean culture while also boosting the local economy. And lastly, language introductions and communication. Spanish still remains the dominant language. Some traditions still have individuals who speak indigenous languages like Mapuche. But for business, education, and technology, individuals are taught English, reflecting the effects of globalization. Pros and cons of globalization. Pros, economic growth / global influence. Um, it's attracted foreign investment, bringing technology and jobs. It's also uh, trade agreements and influence. And lastly, consumer benefits of having variety. So a little bit more to add on to those. Over 30 free trade agreements, which gives better and easier access to major global markets while also participating in organizations. Also, globalization has offered Chileans a variety of choices to enjoy, where many are at lower prices as a way of international trade. Now, some of the cons, economic dependence, inequality, cultural influence, environmental impact, pressure on local industries. So a little bit more. They have a heavy reliance on exports, leading to vulnerability to global price fluctuations. Globalization has widened the gap between the wealthy and the poor, wealthy exporters of the country and the poor communities that lie within. Globalization influence can overshadow Chile's local and traditions with foreign trends. And mining, fishing, and agriculture have had heavy impacts on the environment, if not done through modern moderation and foresight. Some local farmers have also had trouble competing with the cheap imports. MNC. The Chilean copper mine has one third of Globe's known. No, Chilean copper mining has one third of Globe's normal reserves, and they command a 30% share of the market. According to Shabaro and Moron, BHP was the largest mine of the six that were listed, and they were said to produce a little over 1 million metric tons of copper in 2021. The next one online is the Anglo American, who produces just over 600,000 metric tons of copper in 2021. BHP, which was formerly known as the Billiton, originated in Australia and the United Kingdom, now have the largest mine in Chile called the Escondida Mine, located in in the Atacama Desert. Further research from Sabaro and Moron indicates that the energy consumption in Chile is nearing the output of copper ore. When they originally um, were being invested in back in 1987, they're completely inversely related, meaning that you would get a lot more for your investment of electricity and resources. BHC has since invested in sustainability efforts to power its mining operations and help reduce emissions with an end goal of being emission-free in 2050. BHP provides thousands of jobs to Chileans both directly and indirectly. Trade block. This is all received from the source from Crow and Kozak. Um, this is on the Pacific Alliance trade bloc. It includes Mexico, Peru, Chile, and Colombia as its founders, and recently accepted members including Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and Singapore. They also have more than 60 observers who also cooperate in dialogue and projects. So some key points of this trade bloc is free movement, trade focus, and global outlook. Free movement to encourage free movement of goods and services amongst members. Um, Trade focuses to eliminate most tariffs to open further trade opportunities for corporate investments. Then global outlook to seek deeper partnership with the Asian Pacific region because of the viewed opportunity. Trade partners and exports. Um, Imports and exports. Uh, this lists just some of the top three imports and the top three exports, while also listing the top four imports of goods and the top four exports of goods from the country. Um, and yeah, we can see China is their main importer and exporter, while the United States remains at number two. Um, and their goods and their imports and their exports kind of inversely relate because they have ores going out, but oil and minerals coming in to produce those ores. Same with industry and machinery is also for industrialization of the country, but also to work with the ores. And the fruits and nuts are just something, and the seafood is something that's already been there. But the major imports are just for funding the mainly funding the mines that they have there. So lastly, the justification for the selection. No big reason to choose Chile. I just knew they had Spanish colonization, so that provided some comfort and an area to start. Um, a fun fact from Chile is that they have the driest desert on Earth, called the Atacama Desert, where some weather stations have yet to record rain. Um, Kind of thing about me that also aided in this is in my decision is I had been in a dual immersion class that started in kindergarten and then lasted until eighth grade. So I'm somewhat fluent in Spanish, and I can say I have more lenient, more guidance towards choosing a Spanish-speaking or South American country. And then lastly, these are my sources.